Okay, okay. Just let's stay with the media groups just for a second. What did you feel, what was it that succeeded about that? What was it that worked in terms of actually, you know, helping to generate business? What were the kind of the tangibles that you could point to and said, you know, this is working?
Evolutionary process. I mean, obviously, if you look at Bristol when it started in 2002 or whatever it was, to where it is now, you can see this huge growth curve. Jobs boards, opportunities, commercial opportunities, sponsorship, buzz factor, there is booklets, there's websites, there's you name it, and it's all now in one sensible portal. Delivers, helps with, in conjunction with our partners, delivers training, all sorts of things. It becomes a, it's going to sound stupid, but it becomes that. It becomes that kind of gel. It becomes that sort of spark of excitement. It becomes that buzz factor that energizes everybody and suddenly say, hey, you know, we're from the northeast, you know, we're here. You know, hey, we're from Bristol, this is us, you know. And it suddenly made that work. And it did exactly the same in Plymouth, because the Plymouth media cluster was originally a bunch of digital media companies that never talked to Telly, and Telly never talked to them, and there were some graphic agencies, and it was all completely dysfunctional. And eventually, because all this organisation got together, with a bit of support from the Screen Agency, a bit of support from the RDA, and a bit of support from ITV West when it still existed, it suddenly did that. And then they are now a cohesive, robust organisation that are self-sustaining. And then from an RDA's point of view, and from a Screen Agency's point of view, that's great, because it's actually seeing policy in action. And that's what RDAs and Screen Agencies should do, which is they are public bodies that can intervene structurally for a positive public interest benefit. And so that doesn't distort the market, but genuinely empowers things. And that's where that has had a supremely successful intervention. So, but that's only part and parcel of what, you know, the battle. You know, that was battle number one. Battle number two is, okay, you've got to build on that, because if we're going to have genuine out-of-London production, we have to ensure that it's sustainable, that it's viable, and actually that it has an ability to retain talent. I mean, you've got a fantastic university up here. You don't want all your best students who come from here just simply getting on the 125s back down to London or anywhere else every week, every month, every year. You know, why does geography have to be a barrier to talent? It's nonsense. So what you have to try and do, therefore, is to genuinely get a whole group of people together, which we've tried to do and we're still trying to do. So anyone who's actually interested in getting involved in this, please, please, please get involved in PACT and the Nations and Regions, because we all need your voices, is to start saying, okay, let's lobby. Let's lobby politically. So it's all about MPs. It's all about select committees. It's all about making noise. Why do you think the BBC has now suddenly, after all this time, become honest and said that we actually want to be a national broadcaster as opposed to be a London broadcaster with outputs elsewhere? And if there's anyone here from the BBC, I know it sounds rude, but it's true. So it's actually genuinely saying, you know, we're moving towards 17% by 2016, 15, you know, to move towards that 12% by 2012, to genuinely make sure that they are nationally represented in terms of output, but also within the English regions. There is currently, for example, no BBC person that actually has responsibility for the entire English regions. Peter Salmon is there, you know, for the North West. Got a lot of stick at Salford for those of you who were there for saying, where's the North East? You know, where do we go, guys? You know, and we're across the Pennines. Do we wave at you as we go down to London, or are we meant to come into you? And it's still an opaque area, and Peter's a great guy, you know, fantastic track record. I'm sure Peter will take that seriously and look at it. But currently there is no one there who has responsibility for the English regions, because Anne Morrison and Nancy Braid are in charge of the nations. So there is still a political battle to be won, but it has to also be seen in the context now of the Public Sector Broadcasting Review and Digital Britain. Because if we're truly to survive as proper functioning production centres that are genuinely representative of the UK, then that means voices on national television. It also means production bases. It means talent bases. All of that in a holistic whole. Then we have to ensure that the UK, in terms of the English regions, is there too. And that's a critical part of the argument. I think, for all the depressing statistics and all the headlines that you see, it's actually a very exciting time to be in the business. And I know there are times when people say, I think you're nuts. Why are you saying this? I'm saying this for two reasons. One, because, and I really do mourn the loss of regional television, but I can see that from an Ofcom point of view and from ITV's point of view, it's not viable. I accept that that's the case from their economic model. That does not mean there are not other ways of financing that. So if we want to try and preserve some kind of regional identity, we have to look local, we have to look at ways in which we can find new digital platforms for that. And that comes about us. It comes from us here as a community lobbying genuinely to try and make sure our voice is heard. Because when Ofcom and the old ITC did the original things about regional television, they all said that the surveys all showed that no one cared about regional television, that no one watched it. That was the majority view. Which they all said they liked it, yes, sure, but did they want to keep this a bit more than anything else? The answer was no. Well, actually, I don't think that's, and I still don't believe that's the case. And so the other thing that I think is the other key change is that because of the terms of trade, we are able to build asset-based businesses. And that means that you can make international production really work. Co-productions will increase because of the pressure on the market in terms of the tariff prices you get. So what we have done very clearly as a strategy is said, right, and we did this 3 years ago, we said, right, we're going to make a strategic move here to try and make sure that we are not just a UK production company, we are an international-based production company. In those 3 years, we're now on our, I think, 8th or 9th major US-based commission. And we're based in Bath. And do the Americans care where we're based? They couldn't care a monkey's where we're based.
So from that point of view, distance from London becomes less of an issue.
It's the only people that ever ask me about where I'm based and do I have problems with getting talent are the UK broadcasters. The US, Washington doesn't mind. New York doesn't mind. LA doesn't mind. You deliver the shows, Malcolm, that's fine. They don't care. So why does it matter whether you're based in Durham or Newcastle or Gateshead? I mean, they don't give a monkey's. So it's about talent. It's about trying to make sure. So what we've decided to do is to internationalise the whole process. Make sure we've got a viable US base for commissions, mostly made in the UK. And then make sure we have a viable UK base. And that's why it's exciting, because with the growth of multi-platform commissioning, you can see that you're playing, as a UK production company, you're not simply just playing the London game, you're playing the world game. Because actually, if you're looking at the companies that have been successful, whether it be the Arbans, the Tigresses, Tigress is a fantastic company based in Bristol, doing immense work across the world, Everest, etc., etc., etc. Great company, they're based in Bristol. Do the Americans care? No. Do anyone else care? No. It doesn't matter. Arban, based in Bristol. And I can give you loads of other examples. And it doesn't matter. And I think that's the thing that it's about confidence. It's about building a sense of talent. It's about building a pool of people around you who you know are going to deliver. And I think one of the strategic interventions that would help all that is having that sense of buzz. That comes from the clusters, that comes from all that, and that comes from actually working together to ensure that the talent will stay.